Hello, welcome back to another 5 channel. I'm Jacob the J Bookstore, and today we're doing the second episode with Write a Book With Me. I'm very excited for it. Essentially, in the first episode, I announced the series, what the plan was, and how I have some ideas for it, but like not all the ideas, just some of the ideas and stuff. And this episode is all about breaking down whatever that main original plot was into a bigger plot. So we have some story beats and we have some ideas of where it's going, and then we'll break that down even further into a future video, to a chapter outline. But we'll also be doing some character building and some world building in a separate video as well before we actually jump into the story itself. That being said, this is a whiteboard. Sometimes I use a whiteboard, sometimes I use Google, sometimes I use a notebook, sometimes I use my notes on my phone. It really just depends, and I find, because this is a YouTube video, the visual medium at all, I think will be much better on a whiteboard than on a computer, as we will eventually have to switch over to a document on a computer. I'm just not ready for that transition yet. I'm excited to sit here and have this conversation with you on a whiteboard. So that's what we're gonna do. And I have two colors. We have main character and love interest. And then I have other colors if you want to throw in some like, ooh, plot twists or whatever. First things first, let's go over the genre and things, as I think that's really important. Let me pull out purple for basics. The genre we're doing is cozy romantic fantasy. Cozy romantic sci-fi / fantasy. Another thing that's also part of the big overall deal is that it's going to be low stakes. I want cute, lovey, romancy stuff. However, we are going to have some big overall characters. The subplot is going to be our main character's subplot. I'm doing a little bit of a reversal here, which I don't know if it's going to really work for everybody, but I think for the story itself, I think it makes the most sense, because I have other plans for this particular subplot to develop into other short stories, which I can get into much later once we're done with this actual project, and we have a full idea out there. You'll understand more as this fully develops. That being said, our main character owns a magic shop filled with magical / futuristic items, is what its big old deal is. And the subplot that we're going to be slowly following throughout the novel as well is that items are randomly disappearing. Okay? So that's like one of the plot points. Then we have MC, or love interest, or main character number 2. And I still have to figure out if it's a dual POV novel or not. I don't know yet. Our love interest storyline is they are a bounty / monster hunter. Oh, plus, because my brain's gonna forget, it's low stakes / high spice. Which is really interesting because then we have to figure out some key elements for the low stakes, high spice. Low stakes simply means that the plot itself is, they're not going to be like in too much danger or peril for the majority of the novel. I do think I'm going to cut low stakes out once we get down to the final third, but the first 2/3 I'm hoping for casual, cute, and calm. High spice does mean that they need to be in some type of situational ship before they jump into a relationship so we can build out. I gotta figure out what trope I want to use to fully develop that character and fully develop that arc. Because a trope could make sense that they would jump into a romantic relationship without having true feelings for one another just yet, because they need to be connected. I do have an idea how they meet. I don't know where at in the story that they meet, but I do know that they're going to meet at like a tavern in the world is how they meet. And I do think, because like I had one idea, no, actually I like the other idea better. I was playing around with the tavern idea the other day and I was like, oh, that sounds really cute, right? The problem is that like it is kind of cute, but it's not very practical, okay? Because I read a lot of stories where they meet like at a bar. Like it's kind of cute. But wouldn't it be cuter if he comes to this store looking for an item that he needs to solve his quest on, okay? And then he decides, so he takes the item and he goes off and does his own thing. So, needs item for quest. Okay? He takes item, goes off on quest, disappears for a little bit. We're still dealing with MC problems. Then he comes back with reward. I don't know what exactly, maybe they make a deal. Okay, deal is, oh, no. I know a good one. Quest item, but can't afford. Okay? They make a deal. Once quest is over, he comes back and works with him, not for him. That's very key. Because I don't want weird, crippling power dynamic going on here. I just want cutesy, romancy stuff, right? So that's important. So now they're intertangled. Maybe this is like the prologue, and then they know. I don't. We'll figure out main plot stuff later. It's fine. So now we have that, which means the romance is beginning. But we also have overall plot, right? Which is different from all of this because they're actually not going to be in a shop very much. I want them to occasionally come back inside this like little world, but I would like to explore some other avenues, and that's because also, a lot of the main plot is coming from the love interest, which I've never done before and I'm really nervous to do, but I think could be like really good for our main character, how we're going to build the main character. I think could be really interesting and valuable for the overall character growth. And because this seems like it should be the main plot, especially for this being cozy, I actually kind of want the bounty hunter to be the main plot, okay? So he gets a new contract. He gets a new contract. I want to make it make sense. So I'm thinking it's a new contract from the government in the world. He's pretty high class into his job, and this is a pretty high stakes thing, but we're going to try to make it as low stakes as possible. So, new contract must leave. Okay? However, so we have new contract must leave. Now we got to figure out how main character goes with it, because that's the important part here. They have to be together. We've already split them up once, and that puts them together. And I do think that this new contract must leave thing will probably happen. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like midpoint plot twist. So he comes in, first 10%. In the novel, they have a little cute little meet cute in their shop. Main character really takes a good liking to him. And then he says, yeah, how about this? You don't have to pay me now, but you come and you do a little bit of work for me as like acquaintances and stuff. And we can like figure out a deal once you accomplish your goal. And Bounty Hunter was like, fuck yeah, I got you. Comes back, and then they chill for like 50 for the rest of the opening act and halfway through the novel, really building up the relationship and stuff, which means by the time that he wants to leave, the shop is kind of like a disjumbled mess, and he personally, the main character, wants a break. Main character's like, I need a bit of time to really situate myself, so I need a break. Break is needed. Shop closes. And decides to go on journey. Okay? Obviously, I don't have a beat sheet in front of me, so we'll see how all this plays out once we actually do decipher it into a beat sheet. But they get a contract, new contract, and they must leave. Now, I think this is going to be more of the lines of like a creature contract, not a bounty contract. Because I think it's more fun if we're going hunting down a griffin than if we're going to go hunt down like a mage. We're going to hunt down a griffin. Because it'd be more cute if this is like he's hunting him and then it's like enemies to lovers, and then, you know, that's kind of like, but because they're hunting together, okay, he's learning his trade because he learned his trade. Oh, that's kind of cute. I kind of like that. They're, you know, trading trades. That's nice. I enjoy this little triangle thing we have going on here. So they get a new contract and they must leave. And so the rest of the novel, or I would say the next, hold on. So this is the 50% mark, right? So I would say up until like the 85% mark, I would say next 25 to 30% is spent on this. I'm also making a controversial choice right now, as we speak, to have a no breakup third act. Most romances have a breakup for third act because they want to split the characters for whatever reason. I actually do think going to get hurt. I think it's the plan from those things. Those are connected. In this 25 to 30%, he's going to end up getting hurt in the process of hunting down whatever monster we end up choosing in a later video. But we're going to have a no breakup third act because we're already doing something where there's putting conflict in the relationship, a possible death. They're fully committed and built by this point, so that's all good. Now, some other things, because this is a cozy romantic fantasy / sci-fi. Sci-fi is because I like scientific elements inside my fantasy, such as mage work being through science and things over those lines. But also, I know that this shop holds like a typewriter in it due to other reasons that it has to be sci-fi. Also, like, I think I've mentioned in the past, but I'm not 100% sure, the epilogue is going to have a spaceship. Sci-fi. It's just low sci-fi, okay? More on the higher fantasy elements if we're comparing the two. Cozy overall in this world. Cozy overall in this particular section, because as I've talked about, I'm not going to play it on the board, but I will talk. As I've talked about in the past, this is a part of a bigger fantasy world. There's other conflicts that are going on right now in the government, in the world, wars are happening, but these are not affecting any of this. It's all going to be explored in other books, in other series. This is what we're exploring to begin this world, because it's cute and it's fun, and I like it. We have to address the B plot, which ends up taking over the rest of the novel. This ends this, because is there really a plot? I don't know. This is the problem with romances, is that sometimes it just turns to character building exercises. But either way, he gets hurt, they end up having to go back, and he comes back to the shop, and he realizes the shop has been what looks to be vandalized. So to the point of where almost everything in the shop is missing. Now, as you already know, as the story has already been telling you, that we have been building that items are randomly disappearing, but they don't know why. That is not solved here. Actually, it is solved here. It's solved in the epilogue. I take that back. We are going to get a conclusion. He comes back to the shop. It's vandalized. Most things are gone. Except, and this is where the story is going to take a weird turn, because I have to wrap up a storyline, which is their romance, okay? And I think I don't know exactly how to do that, but this is going to take the part of the last 10% of this novel is going to be them rebuilding the shop, him deciding that this is not something he wants to do because he'd rather be with this person for the rest of his life, which he thought he would never get for whatever reason. We're going to figure out the pains and tortures and the wounds later on. Rebuilding 10%. Okay, they end in a HEA, which is happily ever after, which means they do end up together. And then we have the epilogue, which is the wrap-up to items storyline. And that, my friends, is a rough outline. One could take all this information that has been given, most of it, I think I've talked out loud, but all this information that has been given, and they could peel it off this board, right? And then go and run with it, and then build a whole entire story outside of this without even writing a single chapter outline, a character piece, a world building piece, and just figuring everything out piece by piece. However, because I am building a bigger world, I'd like some more in-depth details about this world ecosystem, even if they don't directly affect who we're playing with. Also, I'd like to know their wounds. I'd like to know why MC1 and love interest, or why main character and love interest, cannot get together. Why? What is the battleground between them? What's going on? What's the purpose? So we gotta find the wounds. We gotta figure out their backstories. We gotta figure out their history and what connects them on a deeper, emotional, almost traumatic level before the actual trauma begins. Very important. Also, this is where the high stakes comes in. This little section, this section right here, where they end up leaving and going. That's the that's where this turns into high stakes. Okay? The high spice, I am hoping that once they start working together, that we will have like a cute little montage sequence, and then they start to fuck. High spice early on. I'm thinking first sex scene before the 25% mark, if not at the 25% mark. And then we have 25% of nothing but fucking before they go on this journey, and they're fucking on the road, and it's a lot of fucking. It's cute. And guys, that's the plot. That's this video. Okay? Is it jumbled? Is it a bit of a mess? Yeah, but I kind of like it. I was a little nervous to do this this way for a lot of different reasons, but I don't know. I was a little nervous, and I am pleasantly surprised with how everything turned out. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know if you guys have any thoughts about anything that we talked about today. Hopefully everything was easy to hear and the editing for this isn't too much of a mess. But please let me know. I will transfer all this over into a working document. That way I have all my notes and stuff in a place. But also, another key factor here, please, if you have anything to add to the plot, if you have an idea for what the creature should be, if you have an idea of why one of the main characters, like what the reason why they can't find or they don't trust in love, any of that, please let me know in the comments down below, as this is the part of the story where it's the most important that I have your knowledge and your feed into the story. Because once I do a chapter outline and once we have a pretty good basis of how everything is looking and working, I will probably stop asking for that direct feedback into the story unless I get stuck, or unless you're like, ooh, in chapter 14, when they're doing this, try this instead, you know? And I might take some of those notes, but until we jump into beta feedback, which is not until draft 3 and draft 2, I probably won't take some of your guys' notes until then, once you guys can get your actual hands on the story. Very important, very key. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.